Panther Nation podcast. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, cut it. Cut right. And I would like to introduce one of the hottest podcasts in Carolina history. Let's go. Yo, talk, let's chat. We got time to chop it up. Talking analytics and fantasy draft, you know what's up. Panther Nation representing, cause this is where we talk that. Talk that's so incredible, make them rewind that talk back. Pause. Talking Panthers football, we discussing it all. On and off the field, you know exactly who to call. You know we the #1 podcast. Competition is non-existent, you need to stop that. Pause. It's an honor to be a Panther fan, pause. At Bank of America, that is where we ball. Coming to the jungle, then you gonna feel the pause. Winning the trophy for the city, it is the call. Black, white, and blue, we going Carolina strong. And this is the conversation where everyone belongs. Discussing all the numbers and topics, you know we got it. We the hottest podcast, and we poppin', let's go.
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.
Yo, what's cracking? Man, didn't change the background. Slipping, y'all. Slipping on my pimping. What's good, y'all? It's Panther Nation. Rashad, one half of Panther Nation PC. Listen, we're here for a little morning huddle. I saw that Joe Person released the article about Scott Fitterer's tenure, basically broke down the entire 3-year tenure as GM of the Carolina Panthers, broke down the good, the bad, the ugly. And this is interesting. It's a very interesting article, and we're going to go through it. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about some of the good, some of the bad, and obviously some of the ugly that has occurred under Scott Fitterer, and kind of answer the question, why is he still here? Like, everybody's gotten, fired. Well, Frank Reich's gotten fired. And you look around the league, when other coaches are fired, the GMs are gone as well. So why is Scott Fitterer still around? It just doesn't make much sense. But we're gonna assess that and see what happens. And there's some other interesting news going on as well. So we're gonna talk about it. First of all, this is the morning huddle. If you're not familiar with what's going on, every morning, if there's news to talk about, Rashad is gonna be live to discuss it as it pertains to the Carolina Panthers. So grab yourself, some coffee. Enjoy this great morning that you're awake and alive, and let's talk Carolina Panthers football, man. Keep pounding, keep pounding on the prowl. You know what I mean? Let me get some of this coffee. This is good, bro. Absolutely black coffee. I don't add all that other stuff. Just straight black. It's the donut shop Twix flavor. So it's dope. I like it. Anyway. With that said, there is another thing I want to discuss before we get into the Scott Fitterer article. There's one thing I want to discuss. Okay. So shout out to my guys over at Panthers on Tap on Twitter. They posted an article that's on ESPN.com. Jeremy Fowler wrote it. And there's a clip from it that they posted on Twitter that I want to read. Okay. So let me just pull this up real quick. Shout out to Panthers on Tap, man. They always posting all the tea from it's like they subscribe to everything that's subscribable to, and they post the clips on Twitter. So if you're not following them on Twitter, make sure you follow them at Panthers on Tap on Twitter. So here's the clip from the article. It reads, after asking around, and this is in regards to Evero and kind of what they think about him moving forward. So this just to kind of level set the playing field. This is after asking around, the sense is that the Panthers are at least intrigued by the idea, and that's the idea of keeping him around. It says Evero has done a good job, an impressive job with the Panthers defense, which ranks 3rd in total defense and passing defense despite minimal offensive help and a rash of injuries. He will most likely be on the head coaching interview circuit and could interview in-house with Carolina. But with him under contract with the Panthers, he is an asset they like to keep should they focus on offense with their head coaching search, as most expect. So this is exactly what I said last night. Yeah, y'all jumped on. Oh, you gotta get the best. You gotta hire the best guy. Like we want to hire the second best guy. Like, come on. I said that this would be likely be an occurrence that they're gonna try and keep Israel Evero as defensive coordinator to pair with your offensive minded head coach. Now that does kind of hamstring your guy, right? So this is Tepper essentially saying, hey, I want to hire you as head coach, but I already have a defensive staff in place, right? And so that's kind of Tepper dictating what's going on. Under ideal circumstances, you would like your head coach to come in and allow him to pick his entire staff. But if you got a good thing going with Evero, I do understand the notion to want to keep him around and pair them together. Now, here's what I would say. Here is what I would say though. In with that, I would say, okay, sure, we'll keep Evero around, but I need to bring in some defensive assistants that I know, because if Israel Evero is picked up in the next circuit, not this year, but in the next head coach circuit, I need to be able to promote one of my guys as defensive coordinator. So there has to be some sort of give and take in regards to the defensive staff next year. And I mean, so I think that's a scenario that could happen. Now, another component to this that I brought up last night was that, hey, if we do keep Israel Evero around for another year, we will also be eligible for comp picks if he gets hired in that next circle, in that next cycle, excuse me. So remember the rule that if you get if a coach is hired from your staff and promoted to head coach, you do get comp picks. That only applies if said head coach has been on your staff for 2 years. Evero has to be on staff for 2 years in order for us to be compensated if he gets hired off our staff. He's only been around for 1 year, so we would not get the picks if he gets hired this offseason. However, if he gets hired next offseason, we will be eligible for those picks. So that's the idea, and I get where Tepper's going there. Hey, I want to keep him around so I can get my picks and get my comp picks, but at the same time, he's also doing a darn good job there. You know what I mean? So this could be true, right? So why Big Jordan says Evero brought his linebackers coach with him, I just elevate him. Who's to say he's not going to take that same guy with him over to wherever he goes and promotes him as defensive coordinator? Like, that's how it works. Like, he's not going to stay around here. And why would his linebackers coach stay with us while he goes? If Evero is brought in as a head coach somewhere, his linebackers coach is probably going to go with him to be defensive coordinator wherever he is. Pseudo defensive coordinator, not real defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? So that's what I would do personally. That's what I would do. Let's see. Yep. So Evero, got to keep Evero for 1 more year. Yep. So yeah, and again, that brings consistencies to our staff. So I think it's a great idea. I think that is a great idea to keep Evero around. He's doing a great job. It's not like he sucks. Like, he's doing an amazing job. Considering all the circumstances, offense sucks. Like, if this offense had a competent, was able to put up some points, and this defense would be great. But the defense gets put under so much pressure, right? And eventually they do break, and then there's some criticism for the defense. But you know what I mean? So I personally would like to keep Evero around. Again, for reasons I said earlier, right? We want to get that comp pick, right? Or those comp picks, you get two picks. So the comp picks, and he's doing a great job. He's doing a fantastic job. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. It's a great idea to try to keep him around. So I'm on board with keeping Evero around as defensive coordinator. And listen, I'm not opposed to him being head coach either. Like, I know I said I want an offensive guy, but I really do like Evero. I like what he's doing. I prefer an offensive guy, but I would not be mad one bit if Evero was our head coach. You know what I mean? So that's what the article said in regards to Evero. Like, it's kind of seconded what I already said last night. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on to this article that Scott Fitterer um let's take a look at this article that Scott Fitterer, excuse me, Joe Person wrote about Scott Fitterer. I was reading the comments, my bad. So again, another great article by Joe Person. He put together this article and it basically analyzes Scott Fitterer's 3-year tenure, and it's titled "The Good, the Bad, and the To Be Determined." Not the ugly, the good, the bad, and the to be determined. So basically, it starts off, level setting the playing field. Obviously, we hired Scott Fitterer in the middle of Matt Rhule's tenure, and we know that Matt Rhule had the final say on the 53-man roster. So we know that during the early times of Scott Fitterer's time here, he was hamstrung by Matt Rhule and what he wanted to do. Okay, so let's start with the bad. The bad from this article, it says the bad from Scott Fitterer is turning down the Los Angeles Rams offer for Brian Burns. Now, the deal that was on the table was that they offered 2 first-round picks, a 2024 and a 2025, plus a third in 2023 for Brian Burns, who was in the midst of a career-best season, 12 and a half sack season. Okay, and we know you got to strike while the iron's hot. If you're going to trade somebody, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Said the same thing about Christian McCaffrey. Okay, he says trading Burns would have left the Panthers without their best player on defense. That has kept them in a lot of games the past 2 seasons, but at the same time would have been able to keep DJ Moore, and Bryce Young would have had a weapon. So that it talks about that being a bad, and I agree with that. Now you're in a situation where you haven't extended Brian Burns, and now you're even hearing rumblings about trading Brian Burns, and you're going to get less value than what you were offered a year or so ago. So again, right now it appears that Brian Burns has essentially cut off negotiations once the season started, and will likely be franchise tagged this offseason. So that's what the article says. Okay, he wants $30 million. Panthers ain't paying $30 million. It's probably not going to get close to that, and he's going to get franchise tagged. And it's going to be an ugly situation moving forward. It's going to be an ugly situation moving forward until Brian Burns gets an extension. Okay, so that's classified as a bad move. Also, in this article, classifies moving on for Christian McCaffrey as a bad move. And again, it goes on to say it was a tough call for Fitterer and the organization because of how effective the multi-talented McCaffrey was when healthy. But the 2017 first round pick played in only 10 games. Played in only 10 games in 2020 and 2021, right? And he had a lot of money on his contract getting ready to hit in 2023. Okay, the San Francisco 49ers gave up 4 picks for Christian McCaffrey, and one of those picks was used to send over to Chicago. Okay, and the others was we used we picked on DJ Johnson, not looking to be great. He only has 14 tackles, no sacks in 10 games. Okay, and Christian McCaffrey's going on to do amazing things with the San Francisco 49ers, who's probably going to get MVP votes. Okay, so again, when you look at this in isolation, of course, Christian McCaffrey goes to the best possible situation he could have gone to. He's doing great things. We all know Christian McCaffrey is a talented running back when healthy. The problem was he was not healthy there, and you go back to what Cam Newton says, he was mismanaged here. Okay, so there's a lot of things, a lot of layers to unpack. But I agree with the move. With moving on from Christian McCaffrey, obviously the picks that we've gotten and moved on from and acquired and with those picks that we got for Christian McCaffrey hasn't worked out. So it looks terrible. I get it. But Christian McCaffrey went to the best possible place he could have gone to, bro. Kyle Shanahan has an amazing system. He's doing amazing things over there. And so, yeah, he would have been great to have with a Bryce Young. But the idea behind that is we got to find somebody. Chuba's doing a decent job. We did a decent job moving on in the middle of the season when we had Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. Nobody was saying anything when we had Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, running wrecking shop. When we had that tandem killing, when nobody was complaining. And now, we're 1, 2, and 12 or whatever, and we looking like trash. Everybody wants to have revisionist history. We made some terrible moves after the trade. I get it. All right. So again, also with regards to the bad, it talks about this year's free agent group. It ain't pretty. Miles Sanders, talked about the Miles Sanders contract. We were the only team to go out and sign a free agent running back to big money. Signed a 4-year, $25.4 million contract. Terrible. Terrible deal. Not good. Not good. And he has not been good. Chuba Hubbard is now RB1, and Miles Sanders can't get on track. Tight end Hayden Hurst, unfortunately, he's dealing with that amnesia right now. Even when he was on the field, it didn't look like he was that much of a game changer. You know what I mean? So that's not looking that great. DJ Chark, again, he had that great catch, but those have come few and far in between. Haven't seen it. Ain't good. Then we just released Justin Houston, who came through. Ain't looking good, bro. It's not looking good. And we know that some of those folks were tied to some of the guys that we fired, albeit Deuce Staley, Justin Houston. A lot of those guys had connection to those players, which is why we brought some of those guys in. But with those guys gone, it's going to appear that we're going to move on from a lot of those guys, okay? We're going to move on from a lot of those guys. Now, it keeps going. It keeps going. There's a lot. There's more bad. Let's stay with the bad. Trading up for Matt Corral. Terrible move. Terrible move. We don't even know where Matt Corral is right now. Terrible move. Taking Terrace Marshall in the second round. Again, Terrace Marshall's been active the past 5-6 games. Not good. And again, this is what happens when you have a cycle of head coaches in and you're dealing with old regime's talent. Okay? This is what happens. This is exactly what happens when you're dealing with old regime's talent. You keep cycling these coaches and you still have carryover. And that's a bad thing. Okay? So that's what it is. So cycling Terrace, just to recap the bad. We're going to recap the bad really quickly. The bad. Turning down the trade offer for Brian Burns, right? Moving on for Christian McCaffrey. This year's free agent group. Trading up for Matt Corral, and taking Terrace Marshall in the second. Now the good. Let's get a little positivity in this game. Stay on the prowl. A little positivity. Signing Frankie Louvu. One thing I forgot to realize, or I didn't realize or forgot, was that the pro scouts at the time included Luke Kuechly. Luke Kuechly was a pro scout at the time we signed Frankie Louvu, which this article mentions. Bro, we need Luke Kuechly back. We need our scouts to be improved. Everybody, I saw somebody say it in the chat earlier. We need a new coach, a new scouting staff. Absolutely, because Luke Kuechly was on or a pro scout when we signed Frankie Louvu. So we got Frankie Louvu here. He was on a $1.1 million prove-it deal in 2021, and he is absolutely balling. Now, yesterday's price is not today's price. He is going to be a hot commodity this offseason. We got to find a way to keep him. We can't let Oos leave, bro. We can't let Oos leave. We can't let Oos leave, bro. He is one of the bright stars on this. I know we like talking about Derrick Brown. I know we like talking about Brian Burns, but bro, Oos is balling, bro. He's got 104 tackles this season, 9 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks. He's putting up monster numbers. He is one of the next great linebackers. When you talk about the linebackers that we had in this, in our history, bro, you talk about your Luke Kuechly's, you talk about your Thomas Davis, your John Beesons, your Dan Morgans. He is part of that, bro. I firmly believe that. You got to keep Oos around. You got to keep Oos around. He needs to be priority. Same level as Brian Burns and Derrick Brown. You got to keep him. You got to keep Oos around, bro. You got to keep Oos. Big fan of him. And I've been a big fan of him. You go back to when we signed him, I said he was a high-energy guy. I was a big proponent. Some of y'all was hating. Some of y'all was saying, oh, he's just a special teams guy. He ain't going to do nothing. I remember, bro. I need to go back and look at the film. And I'm going to go back. I need to go back and find that video when we signed him. Some of y'all was calling him trash, and it was a waste of time. I remember, bro. We got to keep Us around. Got to keep him around. So another good, in addition to signing Frankie Louvu, is building the defense and special teams. Now, he did inherit, we got to give, the article goes on to prove this, that he did inherit Burns and Derek Brown. Those are great building blocks to build upon, okay? But under his tenure, and again, we go back to whether Matt Rhule had, final say in 53. He did add J.C. Horn, re-signed Dante Jackson. He signed Von Bell, Xavier Woods, who had that game-clinching, interception this past week. Okay, so the defense has been playing well, and again, you added Nick Thurman, LeBron Ray, Kamu Grugier, Hill. Again, these are great additions that he picked up. Okay. The defense is playing well. Then you talk about the special teams. It goes on to say, you remember Joey Sly? Remember Joseph Charlton? Those guys are out of here. Brought in Eddie Pinero. Brought in Johnny Hecker. Okay. Pinero has been playing well. He's been playing. They call him money. Eddie De Niro, they call him money because he's money. You know what I mean? He's been playing well. Hecker. Again, I know y'all got on me about it. I was saying, Hecker, yeah, it's okay. But Hecker has proven. He's flipped the field plenty of times. Johnny Hecker has been playing amazing football, and I was wrong on that. I'm going to cop my pleas. I was wrong on the whole Hecker thing. I can't call y'all out and not call myself out. I was calling the Hecker signing mid. Okay, Johnny Hecker's the greatest punter of all time. I need to put some respect on Johnny Hecker's name. Okay, I was wrong on that. Okay, put some respect on Johnny Hecker's name. He's been playing well. All right. So another good is that the third and fourth rounders from this, and I didn't say this. This is what the article says. The third and fourth rounders from Scott Fitterer's first draft: Brady Christensen, Tommy Tremble. Both of those guys have been playing well. Brady Christensen, when he's healthy, was very solid. Tommy Tremble's getting better every year. Chuba Hubbard playing well. Those guys are starting to play very, very good football. Okay. We know what Hubbard's doing. I know we probably can't give Fitterer the credit for that. That goes to Matt Rhule's wife. Matt Rhule's wife was the one that gets credit for signing or for drafting Chuba Hubbard. So again, talking about Tommy Tremble increases catch percentage every single season. He has 3 receiving touchdowns for the second season in a row. Chuba Hubbard is taking off. He's RB1 right now. And he's got 3 consecutive games with 80+ rushing yards. On pace. Can he catch 1,000 yards? I don't know. Let me check this out. Let me see. Let me see if Chuba Hubbard can catch 1,000-yard season, man. Come on. Put some respect on his name. Yes, in fact, he can. He is he's got, let's see, 731 yards with 3 games remaining. He's got to do some work. Let me run some numbers real quick. Because y'all know my math sucks. Dave would have been able to, process that in no time. But me, I need some math help. So he needs 269 yards to go to get 1,000 yards. 269 yards. 3 games to go. He needs to average almost 90 yards per game to get 1,000 yards on the season. Is it possible? Close, but he's been averaging 80 yards. So I think he can do it. If we keep that same energy. I think he can do it. He can get close. Going back to the article. We got to get Christensen healthy, but Christensen was playing well. Also, it says adding a Super Bowl champ up front. Like Christensen, Austin Corbett's value was reinforced this season. Again, he got hurt, and things have been trash. Okay, I think it said we had cycled in 7 guys at right guard this year. 7. I'm gonna let that sink in. With Austin Corbett sideline, 7 other players have lined up at right guard this season. That's pretty bad. But Austin Corbett was a great signing. We've seen what we've been looking like without him. So we gotta give him credit for that. So just to round out the good, signing Frankie Louvu, building the special teams and defense. The third and fourth rounders from his first draft, adding Super Bowl champ up front. That is the good. And then also it's going on to say Adam Thielen is a good. Adam Thielen, we know he signed a 3-year, $25 million contract. Without Adam Thielen, we would be trash. It says Thielen's 89 catches are the fourth most by a Panthers player through 14 games, trailing only Christian McCaffrey, who's done it twice, and Steve Smith. Okay. Adam Thielen has been a great, great addition. So he's also added into the good portion of what Scott Fitterer has done so far. Now, the to be determined. There's a long list of to be determined. The number 1 overall pick. So Bryce Young, we don't know what Bryce Young is going to do. We have no idea. We have no idea what Bryce Young is going to do or going to be. It's not his fault. He got drafted into a terrible situation. So it's to be determined on Bryce Young. But we gave up a lot of assets. We gave up a lot of assets to get Bryce Young. And it's to be determined on whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. We're going to find out. I firmly believe in Bryce Young. I think we got a ways to go to get the talent around him. I think we can't write off Bryce Young just yet. But, we got to surround us with some more talent. So until we do that, we can't really rush to judgment. Okay. So the hits and misses. The hits and misses. Here we go. So there's some hits and misses. Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson, again, had 1,000 yards his first joint here. His first year here, Robbie Anderson had 1,000 yards with Teddy Bridgewater. Okay. But he did give Robbie Anderson an extension. But he did somewhat salvage it by getting 2 late-round picks from Arizona. You know what I mean? So they did. He kind of, although we did sign him, he flipped him into some picks. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. He did all right. Stephon Gilmore, a hit and a miss. You know what I mean? So, again, he went to the Pro Bowl after Fitterer acquired him in 2021 from New England for a 6th-round pick. But the Panthers balked on giving Gilmore a multi-year deal after the season, choosing to pay the homegrown Dante Jackson instead. Definitely a miss. Stephon Gilmore is him. Okay? That's definitely a huge miss. Huge miss. Picking Dante Jackson over Stephon Gilmore. Miss. Hassan Reddick, another Temple guy, signed here because of Matt Rhule, racked up 11 sacks on a 1-year prove-it deal, but the Panthers were reluctant to pay him. Again, same thing we're dealing with Brian Burns. We didn't want to give him $15 to $16 million a year because we saw Brian Burns was coming up, right? His contract was coming up. Okay, we let Reddick leave in free agency. He had 16 sacks and was 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting in his first season in Philly. And I was pounding the table for us to re-sign Hassan Reddick. And y'all quoted me saying, where's the pass rush coming from? And we've been saying that for the past 2 seasons without Hassan Reddick. Where's the pass rush opposite of Brian Burns? We still looking for it. Still looking for the pass rush. Deonta Foreman, physical back, became the face of the Panthers' resurgence under Steve Wilks. Love Deonta Foreman. But Fitterer, we were open to bringing Foreman back, but there were concerns about how we would fit into the new wide zone scheme. New scheme that we came in, again, that we abandoned Coach Reich already, and that scheme ain't seeming to work out. And we go right back to the ground and pound that we needed Deonta Foreman for. We paid Sanders instead, and we're wishing that we had Deonta Foreman back for the low. Because Deonta Foreman signed, I think, like $1 million deal or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the contract details for that. But Deonta Foreman goes on to sign a small deal. We signed Sanders the big deal. And now we're looking real dumb. We're looking real dumb because Chuba Hubbard is RB1. Meanwhile, our big paid or high paid running back is RB2. And we're probably going to move on from him next year. So, again, Bradley Bozeman also a hit and a miss. Okay, Bradley Bozeman, similar to Foreman, Panthers downhill running attack under Wilks and offensive coordinator Ben McAdoo last year lined up well with Bozeman's skill set. Bozeman, who was re-signed to a 3-year, $18 million deal, has said that the wide zone scheme was less effective for him. So you sign a guy, Bradley Bozeman, who's a power run guy, and has been on record saying that the wide zone was less of a fit for him. But you don't re-sign Deontay Foreman, who helped the power run scheme. It wasn't a zone fit, a wide zone scheme fit. You let him walk. So it's just a bunch of puzzle pieces that aren't working together. The offensive scheme, right scheme, you bring in the wide zone scheme, but you have Bradley Bozeman, who's a power run guy. It's just a whole bunch of picks that are a whole bunch of players that aren't working together. A whole bunch of picks that aren't seeming to work together. Okay, so that basically rounds out the hits and misses. Robbie Anderson, Stephon Gilmore, Hassan Reddick, Deontay Foreman, and Bradley Bozeman. Okay, so that basically sums up the tenure of Scott Fitterer. And it's been an up and down one, bro. It's been an up and down one for sure. More downs than ups for sure. There's been some good things, but there's also been some bad things. A lot of bad things. And I feel like it's time to move on from Scott Fitterer. It's time to get a guy in here that is going to work well with the GM and not just be a puppet. And y'all said it in the chat. It's not just being a puppet for David Tepper. You need a guy in here that's going to push back and stand on business and get the right guys in here that mesh well with the coach's scheme. It's time for it to be over. And it's not that I think Fitterer is a terrible GM. I think there's some things, if given all the power, I think he can do some good things. If he's not tied to Tepper, he's not tied to a head coach, and he's allowed to do some things here, I think he would be okay. I'm not saying he'd be the best GM in the world. I think he could draft better. The draft could be better. He's not doing great things there. But at the end of the day, we just don't know. We just don't know. But at the end of the day, we need somebody in here that's going to push back and say, hey, these are the right guys that are going to fit our new head coach's vision. Not David Tepper's vision. Let the new coach set the vision and let the GM and head coach work together to get the right players in here. And I just think you need to rip the Band-Aid off, move on from Scott Fitterer, and get somebody new in here. You gotta see everything with a new pair of glasses. We got to go back to the eye doctor, get a new prescription, get some new glasses in the building, and hopefully we can see the letters at the bottom. Because right now we can't see the letters at the bottom at the optometrist. We can only see the big letter. Like, we got to see the bottom letters. We're not seeing the bottom letters. Our eyes are getting worse, right? And we need a new prescription. That's a great analogy, bro, by the way. I just came up with that off the top of my head because I wear contacts. That is somebody, clap it up for my analogy, because that was a great analogy, bro. That was a great analogy. Some of y'all got 20/20 vision already, and so y'all don't know about the optometrist. But I go every year, you know what I mean? My eyes be getting worse sometimes. You know what I mean? So we need to go in here and get a pair of glasses. We need a new vision. We need to be able to see. We need to see some things at the bottom. We need to see the lines at the bottom, bro. We're not seeing the lines at the bottom, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah. Oh, and so real quick, there's a new GM prospect, and I gotta give credit to my man, Panthers analyst, and shout out to my man Jordan Golson, who sends me all kinds of stuff. Anytime there's Panther news, Jordan Golson sends it to my DMs. So I got to shout out to Jordan Golson, who is at Golson Jordan. Go ahead and give him a follow on X if you haven't done so already. My man, he had me laced with all the news, making sure I stay on top of the Jones. All right. So he sent me a tweet this morning saying, "All right, let's peep game with this new GM candidate. And I was like, okay, new GM candidate. I know about everybody. I mean, I got my ears to the streets. I'm pretty, but nah, I hadn't heard about this one. I hadn't heard about this one, y'all. I hadn't heard about this one. So he points me to Ray Agnew, who is the Lions assistant general manager. And so if we can happen to line up and get Ben Johnson, there's a guy that you could bring in that knows Ben Johnson very well. His name is Ray Agnew. Ray Agnew, and shout out to my man Edgar Salmingo, excuse me. He's at Panthers analyst at on X. And he connects a lot of dots. A lot of dots are connected. There's a lot of things that make him an excellent pick. Okay. Ray Agnew is from Winston-Salem. That's in North Carolina, right? Winston-Salem is in North Carolina. Correct. I'm joking. I know Winston-Salem is North Carolina. He played at NC State. He's with Ben Johnson right now as we speak. Not only that, y'all. Not only that, he was with Ejiro Evero and the Rams in 2017 through 2020. Bro, what? Come on, bro. He helped draft Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aleem McNeil, Jamar Gibbs, and Sam Laporta. Sign me up. Say less. Say less. Get my man here. This is like, bro, I swear, if we can go out there and get Ben Johnson and you cut the check, the ideal scenario is to bring in Ray Agnew right now, bring him in right now, and let him run it. Bro, that is the perfect, bro. And shout out to my man Edgar, because that's amazing research, and I can't take the credit for that. I did not put that together. Shout out to my man Panthers analyst on X. Put that joint together. That is the perfect scenario. If you can keep Ejiro Evero at defensive coordinator, you can bring in Ben Johnson as head coach / offensive coordinator, and Ray Agnew as general manager. It gets no more perfect than that. You can't get more a perfect scenario than that. Bro, cut the check. They're all local guys. And like y'all said in the chat, Ray Agnew's a local guy. Ben Johnson's a local guy. They're from the Carolinas. Bro, it's perfect. Shout out to Jay Got the Juice. He sums it up. Sign Ben, sign Agnew, keep Tepper, and step back. Step back. Hopefully I got y'all shirts too. Get y'all step back shirts. Let me share my screen so y'all can see it. So y'all can see who to follow. Because I got to give these guys all the credit in the world. I don't want to steal no credit from these guys. They put it together. So at Panthers analyst on X, this is who y'all want to follow. He does a great job too, Panthers analyst. I'll put it in the chat for y'all. I got to get him on the show one day too. And then shout out to my man Jordan Golston too. He don't want to be keeping me laced with all the news and all the nuggets. I'm gonna have y'all follow him as well. Get his numbers up. Shout out to my man Jordan Golston. He's some guys you can follow on X, man. Run it up. They talk about the Fitterer joint. So here we go. Yeah. So perfect scenario, bro. Perfect scenario. This is a perfect scenario. This is Ray Agnew right here. I know y'all are saying it probably won't happen because he's black, but I could care less. This is the perfect scenario. It gets no better. It gets no better than this. It gets no better than that. It's a perfect scenario. Why does it matter? Why does it matter if they're from NC? Because they're from here. They know the layout. They know the ins and outs of North Carolina. That's why it matters. That's why it matters, bro. You got to get the hometown guys. I mean, it's not like the determining factor, but it helps. It most certainly helps. How many shirts have been sold? I don't know. I got to get the numbers. I have no idea. I would say not enough. I would say not enough shirts have been sold. That's what I would say. Not enough. Not enough. Get the shirt sold, bro. Get the shirt sold. But yeah, man. So again, what do y'all think? I think that's the perfect scenario. Getting Ray Agnew, getting Ben Johnson, keeping Evero. That is the ideal scenario. If we can get that done, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. The confidence that would put into Panther Nation would be amazing. But again, we got competition. You got the Chargers. You could have the Falcons. You could have the Raiders, depending on what they do. There's a lot. But the confidence that getting Ben Johnson here, and Ben Johnson done great things. I know a lot of people are questioning, hey, why? I don't know about Ben Johnson, bro. He's a great offensive mind, bro. Now the question mark is, and these are valid questions. The question mark is, can he be a leader of men? Can he build a culture? X's and O's are great. That's a great thing. But can you lead? That is the question. That's a part of the criteria. So we will see. We will see. We don't know. We don't know. So I don't do the shipping, bro. We exported the shipping to another company. So they should have started sending them out. Yes, the shirts should have started going out. They should have been started to go out. Yes. So we need to get more shirts sold. Shout out to Lano. He says, I got mine. Shout out to, yeah. So they're coming through. Oh, yeah. So he says, watch him mic'd up at the Senior Bowl. I got to go back and watch that. So why Big Jordan says, yes, he can lead. Watch him mic'd up. I got to go back and watch that. Dave Matthews says, mine's in the mail. Yeah, man. So yeah, they're on the way. They're on the way for sure. I appreciate y'all for getting one too. We got to send a message to David Tepper, man. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, man. So anything else y'all want to talk about on the morning huddle? I got a couple more minutes. To hang out. Let me put the link in the chat again. My man said, how do I order one? Let me put the link in the chat. Give me 1 second. That's an easy question to answer. Such an easy question to answer. One second. One second, y'all. Shout out to Too Busy in the building. Yeah, man. But listen, we got to be excited for what's going to happen next with the GM. Do we know that we're going to get a new GM? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get a new GM or not. I have no idea. But one can hope. One can hope. I I most certainly hope. I most certainly hope that that we get it done. Shout out to my man Dan the Legend. Sent me some scenarios with the cap. Send me some scenarios with the cat, man. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all, bro. About to put the link in the chat. Give me 1 second. Link is now in the chat. If y'all want a step back shirt, let me go get mine so I can show it to y'all. For those that have not seen it yet. For those that have not seen it, man. Get the step back shirts. Send in the message to David Tepper, man. Get the right people in here and then step back, bro. We don't need to see you. We don't need to hear from you. We don't want none of that. We don't want none of that. Real quick, I got a couple super chats that I never addressed. So Mark Burke says Mike Tomlin really could fix his organization. It's like that he'll be available. We want Ben Johnson, but we need Mike Tomlin. We know that Tomlin can build a culture. We understand that. We got that. But again, I go back to what's working right now. Offensive minded coaches. That's just facts. That's the way the game is going. And until I see otherwise, hey, it is what it is. But Tomlin is probably not going to come here due to some of the stuff that Tepper has done with his previous ownership stint and what he said during his previous ownership stint with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I doubt that's going to happen. We talked about that last night on the show. Chris Mack says, would the Falcons trade us Pitts? Would you take it? Nah, I'm cool. I'm cool on Pitts, bro. I'm not trading for Pitts. I'm not trading for Pitts. I'm cool on that. If we elevated Ejiro Evero to head coach, do you think TB would stay as OC? I got to be honest with you. I don't know if I want TB as OC moving forward. I don't know. I don't know if I want that. I haven't seen enough, and I know he's hamstrung with still working with Reich's system, and he hasn't fully had an opportunity to implement his entire system. So could he improve when he gets a full offseason? Maybe that's fair. But I don't know. I think we can do better than that. Just my opinion. Even if we elevate it, yeah, for sure. Shout out to Mr. Exclusive 7 says, even if you're not going to the game, buy a shirt and flood the socials with the picture of the shirt with hashtag step back and take the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so we're definitely gonna do this. We're gonna flood socials with the hashtag step back. Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be a movement that game. It's gonna be a movement that game for sure. And again, I like Thomas Brown too, but I think we can do better. That's all I'm saying. I think Thomas Brown, given a full offseason, could do better. A-Cash says, dumb question, but I can only order a t-shirt if I play. No, you can order a t-shirt and just wear it. You can order a t-shirt and wear it. You don't have to come to the game to wear the t-shirt. Nah, man, come through. Oh, and tag the Panthers. Got you. And tag the Panthers. So these go together. Even if you're not going to the game, buy the shirt and flood your socials with the picture of your shirt with hashtag step back and tag the Carolina Panthers. That's what he meant to say. So you don't need that. You don't need to go to the game. Wear the shirt, tag it on socials. We're gonna be retweeting. It's gonna be a movement. It's gonna be a movement. My man said the step back shirt is a Christmas gift to myself. Yes, sir. Merry Christmas. All right. So with that said, man, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Again, the morning huddle was dope. It's always fun to get up here when there's news to talk about. That's the key thing. There's got to be something to talk about. So If there's something to talk about, I'm gonna get up here. It is what it is. And yeah, we having fun with it. We having fun with it. So on that note, man, make sure you hit that like button. Again, if you're new here, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, notification bell, get in the comments, all that stuff, man. I'm gonna get up out of here for the day. And we will holler at y'all. I'll be on the Rob Brown Show tomorrow morning, 8:20, around 8:20-ish. Rob Brown Show with the fan upstate. I will live stream that here. May have a morning huddle after just to recap what we talked about. And then yeah, we might go live if I decide to go to the game. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go to the game or not. We'll see. But we're getting up out of here. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.